Our next speaker is Mr. Anil Bhaskaran. He is a vice president at SAP. Anil has diverse experience across engineering, consulting, pre-sales, and innovation across countries in Asia Pacific region. He is responsible for driving customer innovation at the APJ Innovation Office. Today, his talk is about enterprise health and wellness using wearables. Please.
Thank you, Julian, for the kind introduction. Good morning or good afternoon, everyone, wherever you are. It's my pleasure to be here with you all talking about enterprise health and wellness. So we had a lot of technical discussions today. I really enjoyed that. I wanted to go back to my developer days. But what I'm going to give you is a slightly different perspective, a business perspective of how these wearables could be used. Now, health is a key topic for me because 28 years ago, I started my career as a developer designing patient monitors. These are bulky devices which are used in operation theaters or ICUs. Now, much has evolved, and so I'm really excited to look at all the possibilities with the tinyMl. And of course, one of the things that is really shaping everything are the wearables. And so this is where I'm going to discuss today. I would like to get started with a quote from Charles Duhigg. So he is the author of The Power of Habit, one of the well-known books focusing about creating new habits and new paradigms. And one of the quote that he was talking about was the impact of exercises and also the effectiveness it can make to the individuals, and also how it can help in creating new habits, which can create a widespread change. Now, many organizations are actually grappling with this problem as well. And so this is what I'm going to discuss today about the past, that is about how the health and wellness as a platform has evolved and where we are, that is SAP's experience in that journey, and as well as my own personal expectations or what I envisage as the future for enterprise health and well-being. So it all started with, sometime in November 2015, it's about 6 years ago, that we were at a customer. And so one of the problem statement that is coming from the HR department was, how might we incentivize the employees to be physically active? So it's all about creating a technology platform or a foundation or an enablement in order to support the employees to be physically active. We have had some good discussions and also some ideation about what can be done. Of course, that was an ideation exercise, and so we did not pursue anything further. This is where, so Dr. James Levin from Mayo Clinic, Arizona State University, he had written an article or concept that sitting is a new smoking. So he was, in his paper that he has published, he was talking about how sedentary work styles can have an adverse impact on the health and well-being. Now, many of us spend hours at our desk working at a stretch and with limited physical movements. Now, especially when we are in situations like that, it can have a severe impact on your health and well-being. It is not just about being healthy, but also being physically active throughout the day, and also ensuring that we have physical movement. And that is a paper that Dr. Levin has written, and it had worldwide attention and also started several movements which are going to have an impact on how employees are perceiving their hazards in their day-to-day work. It's not just the physical hazards, but the fact that they are sitting throughout maybe hours at a stretch is having a significant impact as well. Now, this is actually the foundation for our concept, what we called it as Fitbit at SAP. Now, this was also the time wearables becoming very, very popular. At that point in time, there were a number of them: Fitbit, Jawbone, Whitethings, and to name few. And the wearables are becoming more and more popular, and employees were using at their personal context. Now, this information is available for the employees to look at. But now, how do we bring that as a platform? How do we bring that as a way in which we would be able to create some activities or challenges So that was actually the solution that we have come up with for that problem statement that we have received from the HR department. So our concept was like this. We have all these devices. These are actually the old models that were available. Maybe some of you would have seen that. So these are Fitbit, Jawbone, Apple Watch, and also any other personal low power devices that anyone could use an accelerator, accelerometer, and use that as a platform for tracking their data. Now, so we created this Fit at SAP as a platform on SAP Business Technology platform using the APIs that are exposed by the devices. And if the users are able to grant access to the data, then this data can be collated, pulled together, and brought that data into the platform. And also we can build custom applications. Now, it may sound very, very elementary at this point in time, but so when we are thinking about the data, the health data that is being captured by all of these devices, and also the democratization that is offered by these device companies by offering this data as APIs, this has really helped at that point in time to build a platform like this in order to create a challenge and also design various incentive programs which could help in creating an environment where everyone would be able to look at their personal performance, benchmark against peers, and as well as creating that collective focus on focusing on health and also creating a support system for their peers and colleagues, so which will help in creating that culture of having exercises. So this is actually the concept that has really worked. So what we did is that we launched this in 2016 for SAP employees in Asia Pacific and Japan. We started with 5 devices: Fitbit, Jawbone, Garmin, Apple Watch, and also Whitings. So at the time of launch, we had over 1,500 employees who participated in this program. And also we created an incentive system. So the incentive was, if you are able to clock an average of 8,000 steps, it's actually pretty significant. It's about 6 to 7 kilometers of physical activities on an average per day. It's actually a lofty goal. And about 60% of our participants, of these 1,500 users, were able to get that incentive of $100 in a quarter. So small incentive, but the fact that you're able to run a challenge, you're able to also see the benchmark your performance, and that was really helpful to encourage the employees to participate in the challenge. Now, if you look at what we have been able to do, that was all the data in the devices on one side and able to create a secure platform where we are able to create challenges and also use that to incentivize the employees to become physically active. And one of our, we had actually several considerations that we had when we looked at building this platform. I already mentioned that any of the data that is in these devices, they are considered health data. So which means that we need to have an appropriate care in terms of capturing that data and also processing that. And also it comes with liabilities as well, because you're talking about the personal data. It needs a high level of or high standards of data security and data privacy in terms of who can have access to the information, and also when, and also how we will discard that information as well. So there has to be strict rules to be applied for processing or storing or accessing the data, and because the privacy of the individuals, because from the exercise data, we know that when employees are active, when they are actually going for a run, and so all of this can, so people can make wrong interpretations, and so that is really a key consideration. And we designed this to meet the German data protection standards, which is some of the toughest in the world, or the toughest data privacy standard in the world. So when we have a system which is able to meet all of these requirements, yes, then it is something that is really scalable and also helpful, and also instills trust among employees. Now, our biggest success story was, so the changes in the behaviors of the employees. So we have had several success stories where people are motivated to take an active lifestyle with maybe walking or running or kayaking, cycling, and so on. There have been several success stories We also had several employee groups, so people are coming together during weekends or evenings to do activities together. And the notable story, this actually came in March 2017 in the Edge. It's a publication in Singapore. It's a story of Sri Arumugam. In this photo, he is our head of HR in APJ, with Sri talking about his story of how he has been able to reverse his diabetes. Not exactly reverse, but he is able to go off his diabetes medication and also control his diabetes through the physical activities. And this also has motivated several people. In fact, Sri got motivated by this wellness platform. He was walking like on an average about 15 to 20 kilometers a day. And so that's the level of rigor that he had, which helped him to go off his medication. And we have actually several success stories in a similar way. Now today,
I have a quick question from the audience.
Sure.
So how data security and privacy was enabled on these devices? What kind of technology or platform did you use?
Yeah, so we have used SAP's business technology platform, that is a platform as a service solution, in order to store and ingest the data. Now, first and foremost is that the devices send various streams of data, which includes all kind of parameters like your sleep data, heart rate, and also the steps across various parameters. Now, the first thing that we did is to purge the data, and we stored only one data, which is the number of steps, and all other data is discarded. So first rule of our platform design was to use only the data that is needed, and also eliminate all identifiable information that we otherwise would be able to wrongly interpret or even maybe reach in the wrong hands as well. The second part that we did is access to the information. Now, the data layer was designed in such a way that we are able to have only very, very selected roles, that is within the HR function. These HR admins only will have access to the data. So that segregation of information across the various roles is what also we have captured. The third one, in our dashboard design, we ensured that we are not sharing any of the public information, and also provide a flexibility for employees to either mask their data or even opt out of the data, so that it can only be used for the reporting purpose. So that's really the changes or the platform design that we have done to ensure the data. And of course, the last but not the least, about discarding of data as well. Once a quarter is completed, all of the data is purged and discarded as well, so that only the summarized reports are kept. So that ensures that we are able to comply with our data privacy requirements.
Yeah, just following up, do you have any plans to open this kind of service to public, not your own employees?
Yes, that is actually the plan as well. And so maybe that's a perfect segue into what I want to talk in this slide as well. So currently, worldwide, we have over 20,000 employees who are actually using that. It's approximately about 20% of our employee base globally. And we are also working on we also added cycling as an activity. In fact, that is the impact on me in the pandemic. That's the reason I'm also wearing our cycling jersey for the session. So we added various sports as well. Now, our next step is we also have two customers, by the way, adopted this product in the region. So as a concept. Now, we intend to make this available, as an open source, so which will help to one of our customers or partners to adopt a similar kind of platform. And we intend to also work on the next phase of it, so which is actually the thing that I also want to talk about. So maybe I would like to invite you all to take your phone, scan the QR code, and indulge me in participating in the survey. How many of you use a fitness tracker or a smartwatch as part of your day-to-day work? All right, I hope you got a chance to have a look at it. All right, I think we could have a few more participation. All right. All right, at least that gives a trend, 5 years and one no. This is actually the study by the e-marketer. At the moment, this is actually the numbers from US. 62 million people in US use smart wearables. This could be watches or fitness trackers, and this is 24% of the population, and it is projected to increase to 26% by now. This is general population. When you look at tech workers, this population can be significantly higher because that's what everyone needs. Now, if you look at the devices now, I am so I've been using Fitbit for a very, very long time. And if you look at my current device, I'm able to track several vital parameters, and I use that for my personal health tracking. There is so much of compute power that is available. It is able to track my stress, my heart rate, my SpO2, my body temperature, and you name it, all of these parameters, it is able to calculate all of these vital parameters. And also the latest generation of Apple Watch, it can also take ECG, and also it can determine irregular rhythm. So in fact, one of the first projects that I did when my patient monitors days was to analyze heart rate and also determine arrhythmias. I know how complex that is, but now all of that can be done on your devices. And also, this is actually increasing the adoption, and so more and more corporates are also looking at use of wearables into their people strategy. Now, three ways I'm looking at how wearables could be able to shape the future. One is about prevention. Now, as you know, people are the biggest assets in many of the organizations, and not many, all of the organizations. And the COVID also has shown that is a most important thing that everyone need to take care. And so the use of wearables can, in fact, encourage, like we have showed earlier, to encourage physical activities, whether it's running, biking, etc., and also the physiological assessment of stress as well. Now, wearables also, with this augmented data that is available from these devices, it can also help in the early identification. So again, so privacy of data is very, very important, and also have self-service capabilities in partnership with healthcare providers can identify potential health issues that many of the employees may have, and provide a platform for early identification and also detection of that, and combining that with the insurance programs that are there. And last but not the least, the recovery as well. So supporting the employees who have had either chronic conditions, so whether it is diabetes or any other metabolic conditions, and also to provide support systems and even COVID also has had long-term health impact for everyone, and also help in the tailoring of treatments and also the analysis of data. And last but not the least, this will also help in reducing the overall cost. So three things if you look at, so engaging employees early and helping them to identify, and also if anything untoward happens, helping in the recovery as well. And that's what the wearables are going to shape. So wearables, healthcare providers, insurance and company policies, and that's going to be the enablers of modern work. I also talk about the next version of it, SAP. So we are working on integrating these future concepts. This is actually the data, I've taken from my Fitbit, so it's able to track so many parameters, like what the weight loss, the body temperature, the resting heart rate, and actually the list actually goes on. So we need to integrate all of this data in a manner that will respect the privacy of the individuals, but provide insights and value to them, to create new paradigms to promote health and wellness, and also address the duty of the care without compromising the privacy of employees, to create partnerships with healthcare providers, insurance companies, and other holistic providers, so that it will become the platform for the organizations for employee engagement. And that future is not distant, and so we are actively working on it. So the conclusion that I want to share with you all, wearables will be an integral part of the health strategy from a health, wellness, and safety point of view. And again, without really compromising on the privacy and data security. Future concepts of employee health and wellness platforms pack the power of insights that we are able to derive from wearables. And wearables also have the possibility to change the paradigm of duty of care. Now, tinyML is certainly an enabler of all of these technologies and capabilities. And think about the future impact that we would be able to make. And I want to leave you with the quote from Tim Cook. So in an interview recently, he said, if you zoom out into the future and you look back and ask the question, what was Apple's greatest contribution to mankind? It will be about health. Apple has so many innovative products bringing in billions of revenue quarter on quarter, but you look at this quote from the CEO of the company, the impact that it can make, and certainly you all have a big role to play with all the amazing technologies that you are developing, make an impact to mankind, just like what Tim Cook has envisaged. Thank you, everyone.
Okay, thank you for the great presentation. Do you have any questions? So one more question, how is SAP Wearables platform differentiated from the other platforms such as Fitbit Cloud?
So the key thing that we are trying to bring in is bringing in a device agnostic. So look at everyone's hand, right? Everyone has got their own preferred devices which they are using, whether it is Apple Watch or they have their own preferred styles as well. Now, this interoperability is what we are bringing in with this common platform where we are aggregating the data, whether it is from Fitbit Cloud or Apple Watch or any of the device providers, so that you have the flexibility of the data, you also have the control of the data, and also create challenges, new applications, and new paradigms, respecting the privacy of your own individual. So that is really the differentiation that we are looking from a platform point of view.
Okay, another related question. So how does SAP monitor wellness during office hours for employees? It could be a little bit sensitive. For example, not every employee would purchase the wearables. Yeah.
So first of all, so we have made it as a voluntary program, so again, not a mandatory program, purely voluntary. Second one, so as I mentioned, we also have very strict rules of which data we will capture. We did not capture any time sensitive data, even though we are able to get streams of data from all the device providers, but we purge all of the data so that for every day, we only have one data that we are maintaining, the number of steps that they have taken, number of kilometers that they have biked. That's it at this point in time. So rest of the data is all purged. So we do not look at that. Second, we also do not provide access to anyone other than a super admin who will have access to the data, so that access is also restricted. That instills trust in employees. It's all about the disclosures, the transparency, and your policies.
So the last question is, it is also can be a little bit sensitive. Who owns the data from the wearable devices? Is it device owner, cloud providers, or SAP? How is it done legally?
Yeah, so legally, the employees have full control of the data. So they can choose to participate in the program. And if they choose to participate, they are entrusting the data. And also they have full flexibility to delete the data from any of the, so revoke the rights to access to the data anytime. So the employees are in full control of that in the overall design. And so that is the way it is instilling confidence. And also in the end, yeah, it's a health data and everyone understands that. And so you decide to open and you choose to revoke at any point of time, absolutely in employees' control.
Sounds good.
And in the last 6 years, we have absolutely no issues on that front. Yeah.
Sounds good. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Yuan.
We especially want to give thanks to our strategic partners, which really helped us that we can make that event possible. So we have first our executive sponsors. We have ARM, which is the software and hardware foundation for tinyML. Then at Impulse, tinyML for all developers. Qualcomm AI Research, advancing AI research to make efficient AI ubiquitous. Sentient, end-to-end deep learning solutions for tinyML and Edge AI. And our platinum sponsors, Reality AI. They add advanced sensing to your product with Edge AI, tinyML. Then also we have Renesas, broad and scalable edge computing portfolio. Our gold sponsors, Latent AI, Adaptive AI for the intelligent edge. Maxim Integrated, enabling edge intelligence. Seed Studio, the IoT hardware enabler. tinyMl builds smart IoT sensor devices from data. SynSense building sensing and inference hardware for ultra low power embedded mobile and edge devices. And our silver sponsors, we have Aeon Devices, Deep Light, EMSA, Green Waves, Gravity Inc., HOTG, Imagibob, Mob, Geekzo, Rixon Technology, and SAP. So we really want to thank all of our strategic sponsors who will help us. And I hope you all enjoyed it and that we see you again tomorrow. Good evening, everyone.